parody accounts on Twitter, and when jokes can be taken too far. We'll have that story coming up next.
The fall sports season is coming to a close. We will bring you the latest updates for Team Grizz coming up in sports.
Hurricane Sandy beat down the East Coast, leaving millions without power still today. What does that mean for next week's election? That's our top story next.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Inside Franklin. I'm Dexter Howard.
And I'm Alex Swinson. In today's top story, millions of Americans on the East Coast were left without power after the devastating Hurricane Sandy. According to the Los Angeles Times, Sandy took over 100 American lives, and many experts are calling Sandy the most expensive disaster in America after Katrina. And as if the devastation isn't enough for the country to handle, the presidential election is just a few days away. Inside Franklin caught up with political science professor Randall Smith to find out how this storm could impact the upcoming national election.
As far as how things will look for Tuesday, this is something that the analysts are really scrambling for today, trying to figure out what's the impact. And basically, at this point in time, I think we can identify 4 different impacts that it may have on Tuesday's election. The first one has to do with infrastructure. And what we know is that when there is natural disaster, infrastructure is hurt most often in the lower income areas. This will mean probably that lower income people will be less able to get out to the polls, much less actually having electricity on and the ability to run lights and voting machines when they get there. So, what sort of effect would this have? Well, the effect would more than likely, given that lower income people tend to vote Democratic, this outcome will actually favor Romney. The second impact that we see, having a large event, a large natural disaster, or any large event occurring in late October, we oftentimes call it the October surprise, permits the campaign to change a little bit. Barack Obama, for example, in this case, is able to be seen as more presidential. Obama has to be on the ground where the disaster has occurred. Romney has been able to continue hitting all of those swing states, those undecided voters. He's got a plan for Florida, Ohio, Iowa, Wisconsin, Virginia. So he's going to be able to be on the ground, shaking hands, kissing babies, in the days leading up to the election, and that may give him the nudge. We are looking like we might have another 2000 election on our hands. So it's very possible, and a lot of analysts are suggesting at this point in time that while Obama may win the White House, he will likely lose the popular vote. The other thing we have to keep our eye on is that in order to win the Electoral College, in order to win the White House, you have to win 270 Electoral College votes. The numbers are still out there. We could still have a 269-269 split where neither candidate wins, which will mean that the House of Representatives that is elected on Tuesday, once they take their seats on January 3rd, the first order of business will be deciding the President of the United States.
Along with the presidential race, there are many more local races to watch. Indiana's 9th District now encompasses all of Johnson County. The candidates, Representative Todd Young, a Republican, and his Democratic challenger, Shelley Yoder, came to Franklin College last week for a student-run debate. Inside Franklin's executive producer, Lauren Casey, moderated the debate, and members of the student media served as panelists. Both candidates answered a variety of questions on topics such as healthcare, the economy, national security, and education, just to name a few. For full debate coverage, click on the Ustream link in the description of this video.
There seems to be some controversy on the web this past week at FC. Lauren Casey brings us the story.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, MySpace? Well, maybe not so much anymore, but the others are there, right in the palm of your hand, 24/7. It's your key to your entire network of friends, family, and classmates, literally at your fingertips throughout the entire day. A clever thought pops into your head? Tweet it. Just snapped a photo of your pet? Post it. The time it takes from the thought to enter your brain and then go out to the World Wide Web is only a matter of seconds. So what's the latest buzz on campus? Parody accounts like FC Probs, FC Students, and another that stirred up quite the controversy, FC Ratchets. This Twitter parody account turned into what many students began calling FC's Burn Book. It even got to the point where the college's official Twitter page tweeted at FC Ratchets and told them they could no longer use the college's trademarked logo, and the account was recently deactivated. So how can you tell the difference between just joking around and cyberbullying? I sat down with campus counselor Becky Roberts to find out. How do you tell the difference between just joking around online and cyberbullying and then regular bullying?
Well, I think the main difference is between, first off, bullying and cyberbullying is that if you're being bullied in person, it's between you and that person or whatever group of people you're around at that moment. And when you cyberbully, it's out there for everyone to see. And also, the person who's bullying gets to hide behind a laptop without that person around. So a lot of times people will be more mean online than they would ever be to somebody's face, or they wouldn't even say that to them at all. And then adding in just joking around, I think that you can typically only just joke around with people that you know really well. And my experience of something that I might think you were just joking around is one, but for somebody else they might feel that it's bullying. So it definitely ends up being in the eye of the beholder as to whether it's just a joke or if it's actually bullying.
And what are some emotional effects that a student can feel if they're being cyberbullied?
Yeah, and being cyberbullied can be very difficult for somebody to experience, especially if it happens more than once or twice. If it's, I know I've heard of people creating "I hate a so-and-so" Facebook page, or constantly saying negative things about someone on their own Facebook wall or in different formats. But it can lead to many different mental health issues, such as depression or anxiety. Maybe someone said something negative about someone, and then they think that everyone's seen it, so then become anxious and think that people are looking at them and talking about them, or just depressed when people say negative things about us and it's out there on the World Wide Web. It can make us feel really bad about ourselves. So there's a lot of things that people can experience when they feel like they're being bullied or talked badly about.
And what can students at FC do if they feel like they're being bullied?
If you feel like you're being bullied here on campus, we do not take that lightly. So if someone is being treated badly by someone else, we come to the counseling center. You can either email myself or John Schaefer, or let the Dean of Students know, Ellis Hall. We do not want students to be bullied on this campus, and we take it very seriously.
Okay, well, thank you so much for meeting with me today. Again, students, if you're feeling like you're being bullied online, you can come right here to the counseling center. It's just above the cafeteria. So again, I'm Lauren Casey reporting for the Inside Franklin.
So Dexter, I think the idea here is just think before you tweet.
Pretty sound logic there, Alex. The women of Zeta Tau Alpha hosted their philanthropy event, Big Man on Campus, this past Tuesday. The theme was ancient Greece, and male contestants competed in a pageant representing their respective organizations. Prior to the event, the contestants participated in a mini Olympics, which included a yogurt eating contest, toilet paper toga making, and speed Greek alphabet. Eli Curry, representing Drama Club, took first place, becoming the 2012 Mr. BMOC, and Jimmy Qualters, representing Pi Beta Phi, took second. So did you get a chance to go to BMOC this year, Alex?
I absolutely did. Had a great time. Lots of good representation out there. And mad ups to the women of Zeta Tau Alpha for their organization of the event.
They put on a good show.
Absolutely. Now we're going to go to Adrian Gillespie for an FC Sports update. Adrian?
Thanks, Alex. The fall sports season is coming to a close, with many teams ending their seasons over the past few weekends. The women's tennis team battled to a conference championship, finishing undefeated in the HCAC and ensuring a spot in the national tournament in the spring. On the pitch, the men's soccer team fought their way to a spot in the conference tournament. Darren Mellon sat with a few members of the team to get their feelings heading into their second trip to the conference tournament.
The Franklin men's soccer team is now deep into their season and building momentum for the HCAC tournament. With a record of 6-7-2, players say they are poised to peak at just the right time.
We're bringing it around. We haven't peaked quite yet, thankfully, so looks like we're hitting everything at the right time.
The goal is definitely a winning conference. That is our main goal. That's what we're targeting. And then after that, hopefully making a run at the national tournament. We'll see how it goes.
But despite the team's lofty aspirations of their postseason potential, the Grizzlies struggled out of the gate with 5 consecutive losses to open the season.
So the 0-5 start, all 5 of those teams were top 25 teams in the nation. We played the number 3 team for our 4th loss. We lost to DePauw, who was ranked 24th. We lost to North Central, who was, I think they were top 25 in the nation. I know they were top 5 in the region.
Even with the rough start, players say they've been able to rely on the team's core leadership to turn around their season.
Of course, the group of seniors right now, they've been, really helpful, and the defense definitely has been able to keep us in games.
I mean, in all honesty, it's probably our coach, because he switched us from a 4-3-3 to a 3-5-2.
And with that turnaround, Coach Sean Mahoney has his players believing that they can definitely make some noise in the postseason.
I see it winning conference. And then making a run at the national tournament.
We're going to make noise at the NCAA tournament. I believe that we're going to beat Rose-Hulman 3-0 in the first round of the conference tournament, and then Transy in overtime 1-0 to go on, and whoever we play after that in the first, second, third round, whatever, we'll make it pretty far.
For Inside Franklin, I'm Darren Mullen.
Unfortunately, the Grizz fell to an early blitz by Transylvania in the first round of the tournament in Louisville, finishing their season 6-9-3 overall. On the gridiron, the Grizzlies have been unstoppable since dropping their first 2 games to Mount Union and Butler. Coach Mike Leonard's men have steamrolled past all who have stood in their way, setting up a thrilling end to the regular season. With just 1 more game to go, the Grizz sit atop the ACAC standings, but their fate will lie in this weekend's bell game against rival Hanover. Hanover lost this past weekend, but if they take out the Grizz, they will move on to the finals due to ACAC rules for a tie. That's all for this edition of Sports on Inside Franklin. For all your Grizz news, don't forget to go to www.franklingrizzlies.com and tune in next time when we take a look at winter sports and the conclusion of the men's football season. Now back to you guys. Alex?
Thanks, Adrian. The theater department is already hard at work this year, completing their first performance of Shakespeare's As You Like It. Olivia Covington brings us the story.
Although it may not look like much now, the Franklin College Theater Department transformed Theater Margot into the Forest of Arden for their performance of As You Like It. The cast of talented students performed their version of the Shakespearean comedy October 10th through 14th. The lead role of Orlando was played by freshman Cody Warren.
As You Like It is about Orlando and his lover Rosalind. Orlando is banished to the Forest of Arden by his brother Oliver. While he's in the Forest of Arden, he runs into Rosalind disguised as Ganymede, who he falls in love with.
In order to prepare for the show, the cast and crew worked long hours.
We had 6 weeks of rehearsal. We practiced Sunday through Thursday, so 5 days a week.
In the end, the hard work paid off with a successful show and a tight bond among the cast.
Very tight-knit. It's like we were all a family. If anybody needed help, they were always there to help us.
Be watching for more productions coming out of the theater department throughout the school year. For Inside Franklin, I'm Olivia Covington.
The theater department is already working on their next show, which will open on November 14th.
Feeling a little out of shape, Franklin College? Maybe a little self-conscious in your Halloween costumes? Well, the FC Wellness Program has just the solution, and Brittany Muncie brings us a story.
Franklin College's Wellness Program gives students a month-long workout option. This month, they chose to do cycling classes at the Parks and Recreation Building in Franklin. Students can enjoy a 45-minute intense but fun class. Emily Martin explains why they chose cycling.
Cycling classes was something that I had always wanted to try. That's why we chose it. I thought it would be neat and a different way to get exercise. We have not had as much interest in the cycling classes as we have in the other classes that we have offered in wellness, like Zumba. The Cycle Fit class is a lot of fun, and it's close to campus, and that students should try it out just as another way to get exercise.
Come join Emily and other Franklin College students in a great workout on Tuesday nights, starting at 5 p.m., and look for yoga classes in the month of November.
For Inside Franklin, I'm Brittany Muncie.
So, Alex, you thinking about taking any cycling classes this upcoming year? Or?
I'm actually not currently able to ride a bike. I never actually learned. Not something that I'm extremely proud of, but I do enjoy the stationary bike, so maybe I could kind of start out there and work my way up to the real thing.
Training wheels and then working.
Training wheels, tricycle, big wheels, something along those lines.
There you go.
Student Congress has been busy making your voice heard. Earlier this month, Student Congress hosted a town hall meeting in the Student Center. The goal of the event was to get feedback from students about what they believe is Student Congress's role on campus, as well as choosing from a list of upcoming events to bring to campus. Students who filled out the survey were entered into a raffle. Student Congress President Tess Gentile talked to Inside Franklin about why these town hall events are so important to the college.
Our surveys are more like concrete things, like if we were to get a red box, like what would you like? If we were to host a spring gala, like is this something you think is important? We're trying to work with the mayor on connecting the community with the college, and so we're asking students, like, is this something you think is important? Because what the point of this is, we have things that we want to do next semester and the rest of this semester, but to do them, we want to have proof that they are something students want.
Tess also delivered the campus State of the College address this past week. Inside Franklin's own Michael Daniels attended the event, and he brings us the story.
On Tuesday, October 30th, 2012, Franklin College held a State of the College. Franklin College's Student Congress President, Tess Gentile, spoke first. She focused on Student Congress's 4 goals for this school year, which are collaboration and community involvement, feedback and transparency, communication, and managing the budget. Next, James Mosley, the president of Franklin College, spoke. He congratulated Gentile on the wonderful job that she and Student Congress has done. He talked about what the 35 trustees had accomplished at their meeting earlier this year, such as electing new officers, approving new graduates, and improving the budget. The president stated that as of January 1st, faculty and staff salaries would raise 2.65%. Happily, the president spoke of Grizzly Park and its almost completeness. The tennis courts will be finished in the spring. The president then led the audience in congratulating the women's tennis team for their conference championship. Next, the president informed us that in improving Barnes, the science building, was next on the agenda. After the State of the College, I was able to catch up with President Mosley and ask him a few questions. First, he tells us why he believes the State of the College is important.
I think it's a good thing for us to do as a community. I think it's good for people in any organizations to know sort of what their game plan for the year is, what the ground is, the way things are laid out, where the resources are.
Next, the president talks about the greatness of Grizzly Park and what it has enabled Franklin College to do.
Oh, I think Grizzly Park is a great resource already, and it's going to be an even greater one in the years ahead. Everything has started to grow. We still have to replace now some trees that may not rally after the drought. It's making it possible for us to host some things that we wouldn't have been able to host otherwise.
With the new tennis courts being placed directly beside the president's house, he informs us why he and his wife Candace are especially excited for the courts to be finished.
It's really nice to hear tennis played well. Okay, it's kind of ugly to listen to it when it's not, but the kind of stroke, 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 stroke thing that our women's tennis team does is really, it's just lovely, and so we're looking forward to that sound again.
In the State of the College, the president mentioned many possibilities for an improved science building, but in this interview, he tells us what he believes will happen to Barnes.
Gut it and renovate it and build maybe that much additional size onto it to the east on the chapel side of the science building, and try to do it in a way that comes out as nicely as the student center, which, you know, 2/3 of that is an old building that was gutted and renovated, and the character of it was preserved, although the functionality was completely changed. And part of the difficulty with Barnes is there's really two. One is that it's too small overall, but it's also not configured for the way science is learned now.
And the president tells us what the result will be of the science building being improved.
I think we will continue to see the growing numbers of students who are majoring in biology and chemistry in order to either go to graduate school or directly to work.
For Inside Franklin, I am Michael A. Daniels.
Well, that's about all the time we have for this week. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Inside Franklin. Again, I'm Dexter Howard.
And I'm Alex Swinson. Have a great week, FC.